Welcome to the July 2nd, 2021 episode of Den Excelsior. This is the live weekly podcast discussing the latest Marvel happenings across all media, but we've also been known to stray off topic from time to time. If it's super powered, we'll discuss it here. My name is Dennis, and excuse me if you catch me gobbling some pizza during this show. I'm way late on my dinner. As always, I'm joined by a distinguished nerd panel, so I can, eat while they're talking. Let's get them out here. First up, he keeps coming back for more nerd debates. He takes all the abuse. I don't know why he does it, but it's Frank.
Nerd debates.
Yeah,
wasn't even a debate. You always make me argue things that I don't believe in, and you make me think that I believe in them.
There it is, right there. He keeps coming back.
But I'm drinking coffee right now, and it tastes like. You ever wonder what when Eddie Kaspbrak sprays It from the 1990 miniseries It in the face with the
This is battery acid?
Yeah, this is battery acid. That's what I'm drinking right now. That's what this coffee is that I got from Starbucks. So
nice.
There goes our Starbucks.
Yeah, well, no endorsements there.
I just burned bridges.
No endorsements there. All right, let's introduce our second person today for the show. He's not credited enough for making this show run smoother than it could be. It's Ricky.
Yay!
Ricky, why do you have the Blair Witch camera on you?
It's a little zoomed in for me. I'm just trying new things out.
Oh my goodness, what is going on with this camera? Oh man,
I am MODOK.
Is it the?
You know what? Everyone listening to this podcast will not have a problem. Don't worry about it.
I am MODOK.
All right, let's get our special guest out here right now. He's a longtime friend, watcher, and subscriber of this and our Patreon. It's Ian, aka Dr. Jones.
Hello, everybody. Yes,
Welcome.
Subscribers, you too can be on this show.
Oh God!
Pay us money, and we'll bring you on.
Oh no!
Yeah,
No!
Exactly.
Oh no! We're making promises we can't necessarily keep. Although I'm not opposed to it so far. Okay, really quick. I want to say thanks, Ian, for supporting the show. You've been on here mostly every week, and you're always chatting with us, and it's really great. Before you're ever a patron, I wanted to get you on the show anyways. I just knew that the timing of the shows usually that we discuss were, they were releasing on Friday and then we were talking about it on the same day. That's really hard for a lot of the parents that I know. And so I was really happy when they announced the schedule for Loki this season, which was going to be Wednesday releases. So I was like, I'm grabbing all the dads and moms I can find that don't normally have the availability. So thank you for being here. I think before we get before we get into like all the usual stuff we do, there is something we do whenever we have somebody on here for the first time, which is we ask, what does Marvel mean to you?
Oh,
and
man.
That's where I eat pizza.
So yeah, that's a good call. Man, to me, like I asked my mom about this a little while back, just kind of trying to trace my nerd roots. And, I was like, when did I start kind of getting into, Spider-Man and Iron Man and all the Marvel characters and just the generally nerd stuff? And she was like, I think it's always been there. And, for me, it really has. It's been a lifelong obsession. I don't read deep in the comics, but I read like around the comics. I read the news. I kind of keep up with the latest of what's going on. And, it's just general stories about overcoming adversity and, finding that power within. And I think those resonate with people. And, growing up, I wasn't really the big tough kid. I wasn't really the popular kid, and I think, you know, as a sort of outsider, it resonated with me just that these characters sort of show that it doesn't matter who you are, you can be something special. And I think that that's really what always stuck with me on the Marvel side of things. And the characters just, they've got a lot of life to them. They've been, you know, some of these characters have been going for 50, 60 years. And it's like, they really have touched on everything that you could possibly relate to and things that you may not relate to. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Right on.
Captain America's celebrating his 80th anniversary.
That's part of the news.
Oh, sorry,
No.
I didn't mean to steal your news.
He's an old ass.
And then
Who's your favorite character, Ian?
I was just gonna ask. Thank you, Frank.
Hey.
More often than not, I generally lean towards Doctor Strange. I really like the Marvel magic side of things because it's not your typical like wands and wizards type of thing, which I'm into as well. You know, the other nerd in me is totally down for some Gandalf or whatever, but I like Marvel's take on magic.
That's cool. Gandalf and some James Gandolfini and Harry Potter and a couple other wizards. That's good.
I didn't realize his son's going to be in the Soprano reboot. That's a side note, but his son's playing him. That's kind of cool.
He's playing him.
Wow.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
now it's like a snowball effect between Frank and Ricky.
Oh, yeah.
He says Gandolfini, and then Ricky runs with it, man.
We're like the off-topic fucking Wonder Twins. Oh shit.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. We're 7 minutes in. We're good. That can't be demonetized.
Okay. Really quick, since we've already got people blowing up in the chat, in the comments. I think Ian, did somebody show you how to see the comments?
Oh no.
Oh man, that was in the tech check. That was supposed to be. It's over on the right hand side. You can see the comments. There's a little.
Got it.
Cool.
So we can talk amongst ourselves in the private chat, and then the regular comments are for the comments.
But so yes, we do have Sea Cow Soda, who's in the other room enjoying the pizza as well. She said thanks for the pizza. We will talk more about that later. But yes, that was the pizza tonight was related to Multiverse Bingo, which we'll be chatting about. And then also Sea Cow.
Thank your husband for being really proactive about getting that pizza tonight.
Yeah.
As opposed to next week when the actual thing is going to take
We got shook down for that pizza.
Calm down. And then before I continue posting all of her comments to the screen, we're already getting off topic here. Off topic here.
Comment.
What I wanted to say was we have a fun show planned. We're dying to talk about Loki episode 4. But before we dive into that, we've got some news and rumors to discuss, a brief conversation appetizer, and another round of Multiverse Bingo Loki edition. As a reminder, this is also a chance for you to pick our brains with any marvelous trivia or points of confusion that you may have. We'll be checking the comments throughout the show. And for those of you that can't get enough of us, you can visit patreon.com/DNXmedia immediately after this broadcast ends for our live post show, The Soapbox, where we wind down and talk about stuff we didn't get to in like the first 1.5 hours. I hope Ian will be there in the comments as well as guest. That's going to be complicated, but we should.
I'll figure it out.
You're gonna make it
Yes,
weird.
yes. Okay, with that, Sea Cow Soda's latest comment. Did Dennis just say Gandolf-tini? Sounds delicious. I did not, but
oh man,
I would enjoy one of those. That sounds tasty.
heck yeah.
okay, I did hear either massive flatulence or a motorcycle drive by.
Yeah, it's time for me to close my window.
It was totally a shit.
This you never know what you're gonna get on this show, guys. You never know. But I know normally we would go right into the news, but I think Ricky and I discussed it, and we wanted to just share something kind of cool that happened this week. I got to attend the Black Widow world premiere in Hollywood on Tuesday, and I think Ricky, do you have anything? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's basically just if you guys go to like my YouTube, DNX Media, which you're watching right now. Go there later when you're not watching this show, and you can watch clips or you can watch it here right now. Basically, I got invited to the red carpet fan event, which was basically just a fun gathering of about, I think they said 50 fans and their guests, and then some other people. Like we did see the actual Agent Coulson there, not just a costume one. There was a lot of photo opportunities. There's
Are you sure it wasn't LMD?
There was a Rob Liefeld. I don't know. It could have been an LMD. There was a Rob Liefeld, and then eventually when we went
that's
inside,
not the butt of Black Widow. That's not her butt. I know that thing.
Don't be creepy, Frank.
Yes, don't
like
be
a
creepy.
Snorlax.
And then yes, what was that, Ian?
I was just gonna ask, was that a Downey sighting I just saw there?
No, it was a cosplay. Robert Downey Jr.
All right.
You could play it again for them, Ricky, so that they can keep catching all the things. But yeah, I got some swag. I got to see the movie, and I got to see a movie at the El Capitan, which I've never done before, and they have quite a spectacle. Like there's a whole curtain show that they did before the movie started, and also Kevin Feige and 3 of the other producers of the movie came out to greet us and welcome us back and let us know how happy they were to have Marvel fans all together in a room. But as you can see, I kept wearing my mask the whole time. That's just me. Don't judge me. I just felt like
It's
like knocking over a liquor store. Right?
I felt more comfortable with the mask. Rob Liefeld liked wearing it on his chin. Whatever, everybody's got their own preference.
Your chin gets really cold.
Yeah.
How many liquor stores did you knock over in Hollywood or in Los Santos, as it's called?
Yes. No, not. But I'm surprised you're asking me these questions instead of like about the movie. This is what you want to ask about.
See, the thing is, I don't want the movie really spoiled for me. Like,
I won't spoil it unless you want me to.
Exactly. That's the problem. And then you make me think that I want to. You incept me. You wait till I go to sleep at night.
I've already
you and Scary Terry get in my head, and then the next thing I know, I'm all like, "Yeah, spoil it. Spoil the ending. Tell me the post credits."
I will say I did enjoy the movie. I can make comparisons. Like as far as female led Marvel movies go, it's the best one. It's the best one by a lot.
It's got a 50% margin, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, in fairness, I liked it way better than WandaVision too. But I will say, in the grand scheme of the 24 chapter story, this is like a weird. It's kind of like almost like a footnote in the story. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. Like it's a Rogue One style movie, and so it means they had to pick a specific time in the Marvel universe that they could squeeze a Black Widow story in there, because as we know from the events of Endgame, she's already dead. So this has to be a prequel, and that makes the stakes weird when you're watching a movie that you know how the outcome is later. You know what I mean? It's part of the reason I rejected the original Star Wars prequels. Like they just weren't. I didn't need that story. That didn't really do anything for me. You know what I mean? And like it was, it took a. It's not to say that all prequels are bad. It's just they're inherently less entertaining for me than seeing something that's pushing the story forward in a direction I don't know. Do you know what
what's
I mean?
a good prequel?
What's a good prequel?
Yeah, what's a good prequel?
Episode 1.
Rogue One.
Okay, outside of Star Wars, what's a good prequel?
I think outside of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about that one.
I talked about it. I like The Thing, the prequel that came out to The Thing like 2015. Even though they dropped the ball, but that movie is actually a prequel to the John Carpenter thing.
Okay.
And I like how they wove that story in together into that story.
I mean, I was overthinking this. Black Widow is a good prequel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's not my favorite Marvel movie because it's a prequel. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It's a good prequel. It is. You will enjoy the movie. It's pretty straightforward because it has to be. Like it's
Okay.
that's.
Let me ask you this: what's a good prequel movie outside of Disney that doesn't have an A or an E in the title? Exactly. You can't name one. You can't name a single one. I'm just kidding. Everyone. I'm not a jerk. Well, I'm a jerk, but
I learned today that Temple of Doom is technically a prequel to Raiders, right?
what?
Is it or no?
I
Story
think
wise,
it's just you're just like encapsulated adventures. I thought.
No,
Yeah.
Temple of Doom, I think chronologically is supposed to come
before
Raiders.
yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So like nobody bothered to be hung up on that until way later. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I think that the timing of when it happens in the story is why people were able to figure out later that it's like, oh yeah, technically it's a prequel, but nobody cares. You know what I
He
mean?
meets Willie Scott before he meets what's her name? Mary Ravenwood, Craven the Hunter.
Sure. I don't know. Sure.
I guess we don't care. I guess we don't.
You know, you go do the research. You do the research, but I believe he is right that the second one actually takes place chronologically before the first one.
Okay.
But yeah,
I feel like I should know that, but honestly, I've never really looked at the chronological order for those films.
yeah, it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
Well, let me
Look at it
think.
this way:
It's 19.
after 23 plus Marvel movies you've paid to see in theaters, you finally got your enough punch card credits to get one for free. So,
well,
I've seen more than one. I've seen more than one for free.
Willie Scott sings "Anything Goes," which came out in 1934.
my God, I broke drink.
So I'm wondering if and then the Nazis, that whole thing took place in the early 40s, so it could be a prequel, I guess.
I'm really happy for everybody that tuned in to listen to my thoughts on Black Widow. This is awesome.
Oh yeah.
How
talk
was
about Cole Porter for a second?
The swag was pretty cool. The swag was I got a Black Widow hat, a new one with the correct date that actually says Los Angeles World Premiere Fan Event on the back of it. I got.
Do you wear hats, Dan?
I do. I do, like when I'm going out in the sun, just for like not normally. But again, man, Frank is gonna just keep. He's gonna keep doing it, man.
I'm asking about the real issues.
Yeah.
Was that an air freshener I saw?
Actually, I'm trying to worm my way into that hat. To be honest,
That was not an air freshener. It was a cupcake.
Oh, in that little tin?
It's not a tin. It's a plastic container with a cupcake with layers of frosting and red velvet cake.
That's pretty on the news.
Yeah, you could get either. You had the choice between white frosting or black frosting. I chose black because I thought it might be chocolate. It was just a massive amount of food coloring that turned my whole mouth black.
That makes your poop weird.
Oh yeah, how was the poop?
I also got 4 collector's buttons, and I got free popcorn and a free drink from the movie theater, and Black Widow socks and a bag.
Sounds like it was worth it.
I mean, it was fun. Like, the movie was worth it. It's just. I was planning to watch it at home next week, because the reality is next week is the only time that Disney's ever going to let us watch a Marvel movie at home on the day it came out. So that was my excitement. It was like, I get to do one in this whole damn pandemic. We get to do one at home.
One Marvel at home.
Yeah. And so, as much as I love the shows, I was really excited to do a movie for Marvel at home. Frank somehow is trolling me on the comments. I'm not sharing his comments, but what he is doing right now is muting himself so that he can go do different things.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, baby? I am Batman.
This is the Frank show today, and so we could probably go home tonight.
This is literally my second coffee, so I'm like freaking on fire right now.
Frank is wired, and he's just doing whatever he can to not get a single spoiler out of me. So I will stop talking about Black Widow, but I will. The last thing I will say is, what was that?
No, I was gonna say to give everyone context. Dennis and I had a conversation about Black Widow earlier, and he was talking about Taskmaster, and I was telling him that I'm trying not to think about Taskmaster because every time I do, I'm sure Marvel will come up with something predictable that I'll be able to just guess right off the bat, and I'm trying to avoid it. So every time that subject comes up, I'm trying to think of something else, like math or like I don't know, something embarrassing that happened to me when I was younger. Anything but the Taskmaster or Black Widow.
I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm going to Avengers Campus, and one of their shows is Black Widow and Black Panther fighting Taskmaster.
Oh, great!
All right. I'm officially done talking about Black Widow. I was trying to say something, but now we're somewhere else.
It's got to be someone revealed in the early part of the movie.
Sorry. I thought that's what people wanted. I don't see any in the comments, so I guess we won't do this.
Oh, there we go.
I think Disney might continue showing Marvel movies at home, but maybe 2 weeks later, that is actually not true. It's already confirmed that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings will be in theaters exclusively for 45 days before going to Disney+.
Not if the Delta variant has anything to say about it.
That's fair, but that currently that is their actual plan is 45 days.
Yeah.
So,
but that's still shorter than what it would have been pre-COVID.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. I think every movie has to like do that now. They have to pivot in different ways.
For sure.
But yeah, I highly recommend the movie, even though it's a prequel. Florence Pugh's amazing. Let's get on with the news.
I love Florence Pugh.
Let's do the news. Alrighty. So Guardians 3 is getting ready to go into production right now. And while doing some press, James Gunn kind of let it off the cuff. He doesn't consider the Marvel shows before WandaVision to be MCU canon. And I don't think this is necessarily a surprise, but it's interesting to see he's one of the first creators to comment on that specific subject. So I just kind of curious because I know Dennis and Ian, right? You guys were big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, and I don't know. What do you guys?
Heads up, you spelled canon wrong.
I probably did.
He doesn't consider it a canon that you can launch.
You know, when Agents started off, it was supposed to be, this whole it's all connected to the theme going, and once you kind of got into the actual show and you got into the first couple seasons, they loosely connected and had little tiny touch points, but it was all sort of ancillary and really didn't ever affect the show all that much. And the further that show went along, I'd say the less that it actually mattered, to the point that when you kind of got towards the later movies, with Thanos being the big threat and everything, it was like, Agents was just kind of doing its own thing and just never really mentioned it. It was like, oh, I hear there's this big bad guy. Yeah, moving on. There really wasn't anything that ever.
Look over here. Look over here.
To it. Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong or if you think there was a bigger connection at any point, but there was like a 2-episode arc earlier on where they were chasing after some Asgardian MacGuffin and Sif showed up, and that was basically, I'd say, that probably the most connected that show really was to the MCU. Everything else kind of like reference at best.
They had Sam Jackson.
I would say no. They had Sam Jackson on one episode in
that's true.
But you guys are kind of missing the obvious one. Agent Carter is like, I prefer to consider all of that show canon.
Because awesome. they did have that Jarvis cameo.
Yeah, it is canon because they brought back the actor from Agent Carter to play him in Endgame. So
which Howard Stark was it that they got?
That show?
Yeah, is it the Madman?
The guy from Preacher.
Yeah, it's the same. He's the same one from the first Avenger. Dominic something.
Dominic Cooper. Dominic Cooper.
That's right.
Yeah.
But would you? That Agent Carter wasn't necessarily referenced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, right?
She was absolutely in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Was she? Okay.
See, you're coming from a place where I know you didn't watch these shows.
I didn't. No, I'm. That's why I'm throwing the question your
They
way.
had it on Hulu for like 10 seconds though.
No, so my biggest problem with Agents of Shield is it sucks so bad that it upsets me that it is canon. But for the record, it is canon in Marvel's Wikipedia. It is listed in the same universe as all of the MCU movies. So whether or not James Gunn agrees, he can suck it. It's canon, unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah, James Cameron can suck it too.
But we can all agree to
well,
write
I mean,
Inhumans, right?
There goes our Avatar.
Yeah, he was going to be our guest next week, so that sucks.
That is going to be awkward.
No, way to go, Frank. Moving on.
Moving on. Added at a late edition, Sophia DiMartino, aka Sylvie, aka Lady Loki. Her costume was kind of revealed to be altered to accommodate her breastfeeding, which is kind of a cool little thing. That's those accommodations were made for her needs.
I think it's awesome. She went on Twitter, I think a day or two ago, to commend the costume designer on the show for making this accommodation to make it so that she could be a working mom and do this show. I love her on this show. I think she's awesome as Sylvie. She's everybody on Loki has just made me a bigger fan of those actors. If I did know who they were before. But yeah, I thought that was really cool that Marvel is making these efforts to make sure that a mother can be comfortable at the workplace by doing this kind of stuff. So I was the one that asked Ricky to throw this one into the news because I thought it was really cool. I don't know.
It is really cool. I think it speaks to the fact that they really want to take care of their actors and their support their staff. And as a father, I've kind of seen what difficulties there can be for a mother that's trying to breastfeed, and to try to think about filming for several hours, 8-10 hours a day to do scenes and have to sort of juggle that in the middle. Like, especially when you're talking about a show with, specific costumes and stuff, that's a really cool thing to think of. And, respect to the costume designer for even considering what are the needs of my, of the actress in this moment, and how can I, put those into consideration and make that a reality. And the fact that she shouted it out, I think is cool because it shows that she respected that.
It's like best case scenario for a workplace, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And up next on deck, Marvel's going to be celebrating 80 years of Captain America. And when Marvel tends to celebrate a certain character, they like to do some cool crossover covers. So let's show them out there. We got this super cool The Mighty Valkyries Captain America cover. And probably my favorite of the bunch is the Miles cover. And his little nod, he's actually dressed as the Puerto Rican flag, which is super cool.
Well, that's cool.
We got some Spider-Woman action and some Steve Rogers Iron Man looking action with these.
That's cool. Not seeing Spider-Woman with her ass in the air for 10 seconds.
Right? She's wearing baggy pants for a change.
That's pretty awesome.
That is a cool costume, though. I like
those
that.
Are really cool. These are all just reimagined versions with Captain America stars and stripes on them.
Oh, that Black Widow one was
Black Cat and Black Widow look really cool.
Not many people can pull off the flared boots like that.
Black Cat looks like a lady wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Fantastic Four. They look great.
And he put a shirt on the Thing.
I mean, the Thing wears shirts a lot, actually. He does wear shirts a lot. Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Moon Knight, I think, was the only one that wasn't.
Yeah, he was just standing by flags. What a jerk.
Yeah, what a D.
Way to not support your country, Moon Knight.
Disney Plus announces a new Simpsons short, The Good, the Bart, and the Loki, which will be premiering later this year on, of course, Disney Plus.
Is Tom Hiddleston in it?
I did not see. Let me check my notes.
I'm going to assume he is because Disney owns everything. And
Tom Hiddleston returns as the voice of Loki in the new animated shorts.
Yeah. that doesn't surprise me at all.
Cool.
Get
That's-
Iron Man and Barney burping out electricity. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen on my Disney Plus that they have like a Force Awakens Maggie short, and I've never bothered to watch it. Have any of you guys? Is it any good?
No.
I haven't seen The Simpsons for several years now.
Yeah, I kind of gave up on them a while ago, but I appreciate that they're still going strong.
Oh,
I mean,
it
I
doesn't
don't know
cost
what's
you
wrong.
anything, right? Watching it on Disney Plus.
That's true. I'll check it out.
And then now on to Dennis's favorite topic, his all-consuming addiction. We had a lot this week.
Dude,
had a
you
lot
know
this
what?
week.
We had a lot today. Is the thing?
Yeah.
It's like there was one figure announced this week, and then today there was like a bazillion.
I can hear Dennis's credit card just like screeching.
You know, thankfully, not a single one was available for pre-order this week at all. Actually, so Hasbro's gearing up for like their own version of a like Comic-Con. Like they have an online thing called PulseCon that
Mhm.
I thought was a 1-year thing, but they actually did it earlier this year too. So they're doing it twice a year, so they can get you twice. But the one in the fall is the actual big one that they sell their convention exclusives at. And these are basically the exclusives that they would have sold at San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con if those were things. So yeah, they announced a bunch of them. Ricky, do you have them available to show, or
Yeah.
just go off the cup?
Yeah.
So we got. I have no idea who this is, but
So this is part of a collection that they put
Mhm.
together. I like how you led with that one instead of the main figure. But this is the captain.
Well, that's good. He's doing some showmanship here. You know?
This is the captain from Next Wave, and he's part of a box set called the World Tour Collection, I believe, and it's featuring a freaking Elvis MODOK.
That's awesome.
And isn't it awesome? I kind of love it. But yeah, Next Wave is a comic. Like Frank and I did some research today to just learn more about it. It's been recommended to me many times. I've never bothered to read it, but it's basically this weird comic where this corporation from another dimension kidnaps a bunch of Marvel characters from the 616, brings them over, brainwashes them, and makes them a super team. And the captain is one of them. Monica Rambeau's another. Boom Boom, Machine Man, and Elsa Bloodstone are all part of that team. And so yeah, the captain. A lot of collectors today have been like, "Who's the captain?" And I'm like, "Hey man, go read Next Wave."
I can even appreciate that it's a different like sculpt because with the little microphone on the joystick.
That's awesome.
Whatnot,
That's really
like-
cool.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
super
if that's a different sculpt or if they just screwed a microphone like top onto the top of it. But yeah, the cool thing about the MODOK, because I got mine in the mail a few weeks ago. He's up behind me somewhere.
They're like, we gotta reuse this shit on something.
But what's really cool about him is he's basically a Mr. Potato Head. He comes with like his faceplate comes off, his hair comes off, and then like you can open up the whole figure and you can store the extra parts inside of him. And so the real MODOK figure comes with two different faces. And so I thought that was funny that this one is making good use of that mold by just changing the face and the hair, because like everything else is exactly the same. But he does come with
potato heads now.
Yeah. He does come with yes, you're right. It is the potato heads now. But you know what I mean? It's basically the same thing. He literally fits all of his extra parts inside of him.
So does the captain. That's interesting enough.
Yes.
Put all his extra parts inside of it.
And just to be clear, Chi, even though Hasbro does own the potato heads, no, the pieces are not interchangeable with Mr. Potato Head. I just meant that they can reuse the parts, from the old MODOK to make new pieces and change them. So this might not be the last MODOK we ever see, like a brand new one with the same exact body.
And that'd be really cool if they could make it interchangeable, though. That'd be like.
I kind of hope they do like a MODOK from the show figure.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really bummed today when that was not what was announced because people want that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be a totally different mold. I'm not saying you shouldn't want that. I'm just saying like, hey, they were going for the easy win. And and here's my thing, and this is kind of a question to you guys. As we're looking at this animated series Venom, which is basically just a Venom figure, but with some red paint and blue paint on him. I don't know if you can zoom in on, or if you have another picture of it. Okay, yeah, there's blue and red paint to kind of match the style of like New York lights reflecting on his skin. You can kind of see the blue and the red. But my thing is, I think this one and the MODOK are kind of like the most perfect things for conventions because a lot of people don't have the opportunity usually to go get convention figures, which are, they're always exclusive. So if you don't get them there, the only way you're going to get them is on the aftermarket. You know what I mean? And that kind of sucks. So I kind of enjoy the fact that like it's a weird ass Elvis MODOK, right? Like you don't need him in your collection.
Really want it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's a weird Venom with like red and blue paint. Dude, if you don't like that one, just go get one of the million other ones that just are,
I love his lips. His lips are the only thing that just stand out to me.
Many nights he's dreamed of caressing those lips.
Those Venom lips.
Gee, I couldn't help but notice you said that the MODOK even looks like Patton Oswalt. I would disagree and say that Patton Oswalt looks like MODOK.
Oh, God. I mean, on the toy news, we got some hot off the press Spider-Man action today.
Ooh,
I love how you say Spider-Man and then you show a confusing picture of Doctor Strange.
More specifically, Spider-Man No Way Home action.
This is his new costume from the movie.
How much did you rehearse that one? Like, did you?
I wish Spider-Man would stick with one costume. I don't know why he's wearing that one. That one's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. And he's got the Eye of Agamotto and a beard and gray hair.
Why is his web shooting out like that? Why are the
webs? He's Spider-Man uses magic now. This is like the weirdest Spider-Man figure.
Yellow webs. Is that PP?
You want to talk about Spider-Man using magic? I mean, I usually don't bring Funkos on the show, but Funko came out as well with a Spider-Man using magic.
No, well, see, you're deciding that's using magic.
Yes, okay.
That might
appears to be magic.
Those could be Alchemist.
Those could be like the what is
that's
it?
The HUD. That's the HUD from
Karen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those look like the HUD. Remember, like when he was using his new suit in his bedroom at the end of Civil War, and he has all kinds of like lights and stuff.
It's like a hexagon on there.
I don't see a hexagon. I see circles.
Hexagon. Is that Mephisto? Is that Mephisto Spider-Man?
I'm leaning towards protection spells cast by Doctor Strange.
And you know what? In fairness, Chi is right. You probably should have preempted this one with a spoiler warning, Ricky, because you were just like, "Oh, you don't like this one? Let me show you some straight spoilers." And you just started doing that. You like, and now we only have 2 viewers. Like, see what happened here? We had way more like 1 minute ago.
Well, let's lose the other 2.
Okay, guys. Hey, so just for the record, Ricky is showing spoilers for the Spider-Man movie that comes out in December. And by spoilers, I mean he's showing costumes and
I'm showing toys from figures.
Action figures based on the movie.
I've seen a lot of people complaining that Spider-Man wears too many costumes in the movies. Where do you guys stand on that?
I think
he has a lot of costumes in the comics, right?
That's his thing. That's his thing. I have like 30 or 40 Spider-Man figures, all with different costumes. Yeah. I don't mind.
I'll be fair. My initial
10 different costumes.
My initial reaction of this costume is it looks like a comic Iron Spider mixed with the MCU Iron Spider.
Comic Iron Spider?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I think it looks like the Iron Spider mixed with his last costume in Far From Home.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
It's like
cool.
Iron Spider
I like it.
Lights with the black and red.
Yeah. Iron Man has 83 suits, not even just 42.
You're right there. That's the one.
That's the business.
There's a J. Jonah Jameson. I know Frank was angry earlier. He's like, that
me?
better come with a head that's not bald. And I'm like,
You're putting Ricky's words into my mouth.
you're like,
I
I'm gonna be
didn't say that.
pissed. I'm gonna
be
rob a
pissed.
bank.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rob a bank.
Steal some
Uh,
notes.
Hey,
I don't
I'm just
hair
happy we're
shame.
getting a. I'm happy we're getting a J. Jonah Jameson figure. You got more spoilers here?
I
Last
just
little
like
bit.
Jay Jonah with his traditional flat top. I like having the option of that. If he's going to be bald, it needs to come with the drum set, and he needs to slap people if they don't know if they're rushing or dragging.
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen that movie? Oh,
Oh,
man.
you should watch the movie. For
Tell me
Ian,
the name of it.
Whiplash.
Okay, good job.
He passes. Pass, Ricky.
You did pass.
Good job,
You
Ricky.
passed.
A Lego set based on that little scene of New Asgard from Endgame with Korg and Thor.
Nice.
Bro Thor, as they call him, at the little couch area, playing some Fortnite. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see more Infinity stuff come to the Legoverse.
Is that an actual Fortnite screen, Ricky?
It is a Lego-fied Fortnite-ish screen. It gets a pass.
Lego-fied. Is that trademarked?
Probably.
I would have gone with Lego-ized, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So wait a second. You didn't have any other Legos to show off?
I feel like the Spider-Man Legos are spoilery. So I didn't
They're
add
pretty
one.
damn.
They are pretty freaking spoilers.
They were pretty spoilery. Not that much. I don't know if you noticed some of the other ones. They were branded with the No Way Home, but they were actually doing Lego sets of the older movies, which is cool. Whatever.
What's interesting is Lego Spider-Man is kind of its own brand, sub-brand with Lego. Like you have Lego Marvel, and then you have Lego
really?
Spider-Man. He gets his own collection, which
That's
is where
pretty
that bugle
cool.
came from.
That's pretty cool.
That's the news for the week. Oh,
That
wait.
bugle.
We forgot the
I
comics.
did have. We did have the comics. But then you know what? We're gonna combo this while you're showing off the comics instead of us just sitting around, not knowing what to say while we're showing off the comics. I'm gonna ask Ian the relevant question of the week, which was. So I know we just made it awkward for everybody who didn't want to have Spider-Man spoiled by showing off things about that. But
Perfect
Ian,
setup, Ricky.
Ian, what is your favorite story about a time you had to dodge spoilers?
Oh, man. So out of the 23, if you don't count Black Widow since it's not technically out yet, 23 MCU films, I saw 22 of them in the theater, and the only one that I didn't get to see in the theater was Thor Ragnarok. It hit in November, and my wife's birthday and Thanksgiving and a bunch of other things were going on, and I just never got a chance to see it. And I actually had to dodge spoilers for 4 months, or I think it came out because I missed it in the theater. And so I had to dodge spoilers until it was available for me to watch at home. And that was like, I literally I sort of took a social media hiatus, and I'd walk into rooms and people were talking, and if it sounded like they were talking about superhero stuff, I would just start, covering my ears and walking away. I really I had to dodge for months on that one. And I will say that the best news to relate to that is that I was successful in avoiding basically every single spoiler that could have come about for that movie. I actually, when I watched it at home, I was like, wow, I'm surprised by all of this. And that's difficult across that time span.
That is impressive.
You guys that are my friends who we, chat on the daily around nerd stuff. So I felt pretty good about that one.
That's why we have a spoiler channel on our Slack,
Oh, we have a spoiler channel on the chat.
That's Ricky's home.
Frank, what about you? What's your favorite spoiler story?
Shoot, man.
That doesn't involve Spider-Man No Way Home.
I got a couple of them. One of them's real quick though. It's that when I watched Battlestar Galactica, by some miracle, nobody spoiled anything about the ending or anything like that. By some miracle, I'd watched it like 5 years after the fact, and nothing got spoiled for me. It was a fantastic thing to watch. But the spoiler story that I like to tell is when my buddy Radar and I went to the movies, and we went to see The Sixth Sense, and I'd already seen it, but he hadn't seen it yet, and he was drinking a lot of soda, and he's all, I gotta go to the bathroom, and it was right when they were gonna do the reveal. And I'm all like, no, don't go to the bathroom. Don't go to the bathroom. He's all like, no, I gotta go. And then like he started getting up during the reveal, and like I like tackled him. I like grabbed him, and I'm like, don't go to the bathroom. And like we were wrestling in the theater because I was trying to pin him down so he can watch the reveal. And like he breaks free and then like runs off like a madman, high stepping like the Riddler or something. And he turns around to go down the hall to the bathroom right as the reveal just happened. Like you see Bruce Willis, and although it's not really that much of a spoiler, like he still doesn't know the ending to the fucking he thinks it was just a cool like crime drama. So that's pretty good. He hasn't got that movie spoiled yet.
That's hilarious. By the way, Battlestar Galactica and Lost, both of them I watched many years after without having them really spoiled, but it might be that I waited so long that I forgot whatever people had told me were spoilers.
Yes.
Right? No, in fairness, Lost I kind of still remembered because I knew about the anger. But Battlestar I watched completely without being spoiled many years after it was on TV.
I thought you had watched it during the fact because you were one of the people that were contributing to not spoil. Like you formed like a bubble shield around me of non-spoilers.
I never watched it when it aired on TV.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Ricky?
Well, I love spoilers. I'm in a weird minority where, knowing about a movie before it comes out doesn't deter from my entertainment of that movie. But the one series that has constantly kept me on my toes is the kind of Cloverfield anthology. Starting with that first movie, they had that weird ARG that I was super into. And they had like this like website where you can go and check out all these pictures from the movie.
Yeah. And you shake them and then it turns it around.
Yeah, and you had all that slush show thing.
Yeah.
And then when 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, that movie was pretty cool because they just dropped the trailer during the Super Bowl, and then it came out like a month later. Like it was pretty quick.
Yeah,
so I got to see that movie pretty fresh, and that movie has some cool twists and turns. And then a couple years after that, they had the Cloverfield Paradox, which again they did the Super Bowl thing, but they dropped it on Netflix that same day.
Same day, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and granted, that movie was kind of garbage, but it was that that surprise is always
It's starring Gugu Mbatha-Raw from Loki.
Oh, really? She's in Cloverfield Paradox? I don't remember.
She's the star of Cloverfield Paradox.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It had some good ideas, but
some good actors too. Who was the other
it
one?
wasn't. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't amazing. But it had some cool ideas.
Yeah,
I can appreciate how that franchise has become like, let's dump our, I don't want to call them B tier, but weird sci-fi movie into this anthology to make more money because okay.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, as I was watching the clock, I was just realizing, ask Ricky to tell about a story where he avoided spoilers, and instead he'll just tell you about 3 movies he watched.
I love Cloverfield, so I'm all about this.
I don't go out to avoid spoilers. If they're there, I'll read them. Like, it's in my nature.
I take it as he appreciates the Cloverfield Paradox because there wasn't enough time to spoil it.
They got me. They got me this time.
I get that. That's pretty funny. I do want to say because we should get moving on to the bingo thing, but I think I've told this story before, but for as far as me, because I collect the Marvel Legends and because peripherally I end up seeing lots of toy news and stuff, so I usually see Lego news and stuff, and those things I just accept a certain level of spoiler that is superficial that I have to be exposed to. But I really enjoy watching Marvel movies with my wife, who never grew up reading the Marvel comics. And one of the things I enjoy the most is seeing her react to things that I'm pretty certain are going to happen in the movies. And so when the Civil War set of figures came out, the Build-A-Figure was Giant Man. And those figures were in my house about 2 or 3 months before the movie came out. And it was the funniest thing because like I put him together. I was like, yeah, Giant Man. And then I said, hey, Lindsay, close your eyes. And I went to the other room and I put Giant Man in, like, I have my own like drawer next to the side of my bed. And I put him in there for like months. And I said, don't go in that drawer, please. Just don't, unless you want something spoiled. We saw Civil War months later. Her eyes just lit up in that scene because it was like, it's a hilarious scene if it's not spoiled for you, you know?
Yeah.
Came home, went to the drawer, said, look at this. And I showed her my toy. And I was very happy with myself for that one.
Pretty good. I thought it was going to go a different way. Like she was going to catch you playing with it, and you're like, "Go away! Don't look!
No. But I couldn't play with it. I couldn't do anything with it. No pictures. No. I wanted to preserve that experience for her so badly that I just took that toy and I just put it away for months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was worth it. I enjoyed it. Also, that figure was inaccurate to the movie, so. What a chip.
Yeah, see that's one thing that I like is when like these Spider-Man figures that came out. I'm sure there's going to be inconsistencies with what they look like compared to how they show in the movie, and those little nitpicking details that for some reason is just entertaining for me to like, spot the difference.
I'm actually going to disagree with you because if you remember, these movies were supposed to be out way sooner than they were. So Hasbro, I'm not saying they couldn't be wrong, but this is the one time ever that Hasbro might have had chances to update the tooling on their figures before getting them out in stores, right? Like they've actually held on to Eternals figures for a full year. Those were supposed to come out last year, those Eternals figures. So it's like Black Widow was the last movie that had toys come out prematurely.
Ahead.
But Shang-Chi, all of these, they're releasing them after having plenty of time. So I don't know. They might be accurate this time, only this year. This might be the only year.
I wonder if they're missing some money, some extra money, because like they send out these inaccurate toys, and then later on they'll make a resculpt or a repaint that looks more accurate, and they'll be like, hey, check out this sweet new screen accurate toy.
I gotta buy it.
I buy the new one and then I give the old one to Ian's kids.
Yeah.
Ian's
My kids
has the Misfit Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Your kids have the Misfit Avengers.
The TJ Flea Market Avengers.
They really, really do.
They really do. And a Cara Dune.
They do.
They're pretty awesome.
They do have a Cara Dune figure. Awkward. You guys want to do bingo?
Let's do bingo.
Okay. Spoiler time. All right. It's time to officially start spoiling this amazing episode of Loki by first looking at our bingos that are we're each playing for a different charity of our choice. For every square that we get lit up yellow, we will, at the end of the season, donate $10 to our charity. And then, Ricky, can you throw those charities up as we go through these cards? Mm-hmm. So I'm playing for the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network.
You won.
I technically, after much debate today and yesterday, it was decided that I won the first bingo. I got bingo. Because there was a multiple Loki team up. I just had a toy fall over here. That amazing. I know it's weird to start jumping ahead and talking about the very last scene of the show, but yeah, if you skip all the way to the end of the episode, you get to see that Loki is in fact not dead, and he is surrounded by 4 really, really hilarious looking variant Lokis, or the assumption is they're variants. And they were all basically, they did the whole Terminator thing, right? Come with me if you want to live kind of thing. So after much debate, we've decided that counted as a multiple Loki team up, even though Frank will be more accepting of it next week when it officially, they do something cool. They do something cool other than standing.
Oh, hey, there's someone in the chat that's.
Oh yeah, totally not Frank. Man,
Oh yeah,
thanks for showing up to our live stream. Totally
Yeah.
not Frank.
they actually
They-
bring up some good points. Actually,
There wasn't a multiple Loki team up. They were just standing there.
Oh yeah.
Well, respectfully, I disagree, and fuck you.
Dang! Oh no, we're gonna lose a fan.
Dang.
All right,
Lose a
Yeah.
fan, guys.
let's bust out Frank's
not
card.
Frank.
Oh man.
Yes. But thank you guys for the pizza, by the way, because that was what our side goal
That was
was.
the terms, the stakes.
Yes, whoever got bingo first got a pizza, and then if one of you guys hits bingo in the next 2 weeks, I'll help get you a pizza too.
We get
but it's
pizza
all-
for second place gets pizzas.
So
Why
Frankie
not?
just need equal.
Personal pizzas.
Why not?
I'm hoping for equal.
Yeah, you get equal and you got a pizza. That's pretty
You know,
good.
you could have had it, but they decided to do a crocodile instead of a freaking.
But what if he's
I
equal?
like the
a
crocodile.
Does
The
that
crocodile's
count?
amazing. The crocodile's amazing.
I agree. And like, yeah, what if they called the crocodile equal?
If they called the crocodile equal, I'd be down, even
Oh,
though it's
that's
not a
some
magpie.
bullshit.
I'd vote to count. I'd
I
vote to
wanna
count
know.
myself.
It's not a magpie though, so
I
it's
would
pretty-
say no, but I would defer to the vote.
Who's your charity, Frank?
That's the National Alliance to End Homelessness.
Right on.
he finally picked one
I finally picked one, and I
after
think
seeing those 5 Lokis.
Yeah.
it took a while, but then like once I saw that and I saw like Sylvie's backstory and stuff like that, which we'll get into, I thought it was I thought this was the charity that I would go with here.
Well, what's your best? Yeah, equal the magpie is your best chance of winning right now.
The only other, if they ever freaking say Flarg, gosh darn it.
I'm quite surprised they didn't decide to use the swearing language from the comics.
Well, I thought it was gonna if it was gonna be like more in like more MIB or more like RIPD, then I figured they would lean on the Flargs and the what's the other one, Flargit, or whatever the other nonsensical word is. But like it got serious pretty quick, didn't it? Like after.
Yeah, it did. It did get a lot more serious than I think we expected it to be.
But it's still great, and I appreciate that they're leaning into the weird, even though they're kind of sticking with the Marvel formula to some degree. Like they're not shying away from the weirdness, and I appreciate that in this show.
Oh no, yeah.
We'll talk about more.
Ricky, what are you playing for here? Big Brothers and Big Sisters of San Diego County.
Yep.
Correct. And what did
brothers,
you?
big sisters.
Did we get anything new here?
I might have got a Kid Loki. We'll find out.
Oh wait,
next week.
I didn't mark it. No, sorry, that was supposed to be marked. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did get a Kid Loki. And you got Young Avengers. How did I? Did
I
you?
feel like-
when did you take these screenshots? Because I could have sworn I updated this yesterday.
5 minutes before I
10
took
years
this.
ago.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I could have sworn I updated.
I
both
could
of
be wrong.
these.
I could be wrong. It might be last week's.
That
Alex said
that is
blame.
that is quite possible because I was like I could have sworn I updated these. I'm
But
gonna
I feel
check.
like I can come in. I get a Kragged and Loki saving. What if he saves a Avenger? Will I still get that card?
Maybe, but I just want to clarify something. The reason we have the Young Avengers thing in there is because Marvel's clearly been building up to something with the Young Avengers, and we decided to mark those. Yeah, by the way, you took a screenshot of an older one because I totally have marked it on the thing. Shame on you. Hopefully you got Ian's correct slide.
I hope so too.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, you did get 2 this week, Ricky. But yes, the what was I just saying? Sorry, I just got off track. Oh, Young Avengers. Young Avengers. So just to be clear, in the comic books, Sylvie and Loki both become members of the Young Avengers. But we were just kind of waiting for like actual child versions of them to appear. So we decided Kid Loki counts because that's a kid and it's a Loki. And then technically that's one more seed planted towards eventually having Young Avengers. Whether or not this Kid Loki makes it out alive, I'm fairly confident there's going to be a Kid Loki at some point now that we've seen that one. Yeah. And then
that thread is there for Marvel to pull on.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been established. It's there now. Yeah. And then Ian, we have a guest card for you. that also included a change that you had requested. Is Ricky's not quite ready to show that? That
it's
is
not this one.
that is
Not
that
this
is
one.
that is not that one. There he is.
No
Oh,
worries.
Ricky. Oh, awkward.
Come on.
No, so yeah, so Ian's card, just I can bring it up really quick on my screen just so I can see. You added He Who Remains as you wanted to change the Two Gun Kid out for He Who Remains. Do you want to explain to the audience why you wanted He Who Remains in there?
Well, Two Gun Kid, I mean, I think it's a character that's pretty familiar if you know much about the TVA and stuff, but I don't know how they're going to incorporate him into this at this point in the series.
I honestly, when I added it to the bingo, I assumed that we would just see them in the background in like prison cells or like being arraigned or whatever. That's what I was hoping for. So,
but
For all we know, it'd be the dude that got nuked.
I think going into this episode, I really did see the timekeepers thing kind of come in, and I for some reason I felt like we were going to be getting a Loki version of the Wizard of Oz, and that there's somebody behind the curtain, and that's what He Who Remains is in the comic. He's the last director of the TVA. He's basically the last one left, and he's the one that puts the timekeepers and I believe the time twisters into place to maintain. Well, I think the time twisters maintain a separate timeline that's not the sacred timeline, and so I could see them at some point going into a point where they reveal that somebody that we've already met, somebody in the works, is behind the curtain pulling all the strings. And so I kind of feel like I guess it was wasn't this episode, but I think we might still see something related to that.
Do you subscribe to the theory that it might be Mobius, or do you have an idea of who it might be?
Ooh.
I actually, so with the credits teaser, I'm actually was leaning towards classic Loki, who's our Loki Prime, if you will, is he's redeemed him. Well, a version of him has redeemed himself. He's seemingly redeeming himself to a degree in this
Loki
series.
Prime.
But I'd say the sort of like there's got to be some Lokis that are more on the mischievous, still sort of quote unquote evil side, and I could see one of them being the one that is pulling the strings there.
That comes from the comics too, right?
Crocodile working the whips.
Check it out. Ricky fixed it so we could see your card really quick, and
you
your charity down at the bottom, which is Children with Hair Loss.
Yes.
By the way, anybody listening or watching, all of the charities that we've chosen this entire season for Loki have been included in the descriptions of our show. So if you feel like donating to any of them, feel free to. Ian, you have 10 squares lit up because we aren't going to count that multiple Loki team up because I got pizza, so that means you get it too. So we will be donating $100 to Children with Hair Loss.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Ian, what's Children with Hair Loss? What is that?
It's a nonprofit that provides human hair replacement for free to children with hair loss due to medically related symptoms, and they're very much unlike some of the other organizations that do that same type of thing. They do it for no cost, which I think is really cool because that those kids have suffered enough. So I think that's a really cool effort.
Awesome. That is cool. Thank you so much for that, and I'm glad that I'm still optimistic that we might get a He Who Remains, just because there's 2 more episodes to go, so who knows?
I think it might.
have thoughts on who
I don't know if they'll say the name, if they'll specifically say it, or if it'll just be a reveal that turns out to be the last.
I kind of need it to be said.
I do too, but I don't know if they will.
I mean,
like he's the last TV agent. If they
okay, yeah. If they change the semantics around, I think I could be okay with it. Yeah. But they have to make it clear that he's the last blah blah whatever, like something like
exactly.
that. Yeah. Exactly. But with that, why don't we get into like the full discussion of this? Because I know we kind of just jumped around in some fun bingo stuff.
Wait, we talk about Loki on this show?
No.
How did that happen?
No, we're gonna do more Black Widow because I feel like spoiling it now.
Good.
So yeah, Bricky, let's hit the button and let's do this. Okay, pardon me while I get a little wordy for a few minutes here, but yeah, it's time that we actually put that spotlight on Loki episode 4, since it is fresh on everybody's minds, especially since we've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes or so. I just wanted to give a recap. This was kind of a beefy episode, so forgive me for this recap because I wanted to be pretty comprehensive. So here I go. I should have drank water before this.
He's gonna do like Ace Ventura. He's gonna go.
This episode was titled "The Nexus Event," and it's the one where Loki and Sylvie find comfort in each other as they prepare to die on Lamentus One. But something about that moment they shared triggers a Nexus Event spike way outside the norm, alerting the TVA to their location. Once in custody, Loki sows division among the TVA by informing Mobius that the Timekeepers have been lying to them. They're actually all variants whose memories have been erased. Mobius tries to free Loki, but is pruned by Ravona's Minutemen. Luckily, Hunter B-15 also believes Loki's story and comes to their aid while standing trial before the Timekeepers, who are revealed to be android puppets. After winning the battle, Loki attempts to profess his love for Sylvie, but is suddenly pruned by an angry Ravonna. And that's it, right? Nothing else happened?
Pretty much.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all.
Yeah. Let's go home.
Did they
And then it ended. It ended.
Yeah,
And then it ended, and Loki was dead.
Loki was dead. It was over.
The
That
end.
was the
2
end.
more episodes with no Loki is where we're at.
Yeah. Actually, no. Fun fact. This is the first episode of the season to include a post-credits scene that was pretty important because it showed us that somehow, even though the pruning device was used on Loki, he awakened in a wasteland that appears to be the a New York with a fallen Avengers tower in the side, and he's alive somehow, and he's not in hell, spelled with HEL.
Do you think the pruning device has like a stun setting like Star Wars or Star Trek, and like it just sends you to a different world, or
I don't know.
Room?
I think that's
Kitchen.
just like the shitty timeline where people stormed the Capitol and it went well. And
Yeah, well, I mean, curious. What do you guys think is the reason for that post-credit scene? Like, do you have any ideas, any theories?
To piss us off. I think, no, I actually think it might be like a battle world type situation, or maybe you go to your own variant hell or something. For me, though,
yeah, it seemed like a weird variant purgatory. I think what's a little unclear is if everybody goes there or if it's just your housed with your variants. Yeah.
So you're not considering the possibility that the pruning device has been tampered with?
No.
nah.
Nope.
Okay.
No Zapruder
Put
film
it on a
here.
bingo square and let's argue it.
Straight up no.
No, I don't know. Who knows? But do you think you guys would be able to survive if you went to a
Nope.
a New York with a bunch of Dennises or
Oh no, I say no automatically, whatever it is. Would
Variant
you be able
Dennis's.
to? I am on a very fine line here of survival at all times. Okay, like this pizza is gonna sustain me for a long time because like I was about ready to die and then I got pizza delivered. So
Nice.
no. What do you have? What theory do you have, Ian?
As I'm kind of tossed up between whether it is a prune timeline where
You got a little disturbance there in your audio. Maybe I'll try and fix that later. Sorry. There you go. Now you sound good.
You kind of sounded like
yeah.
the mustache man.
Yeah.
No, I'm kind of tossed up between sort of a battle world scenario or something where they're sending all the variants that they prune all to the same location type of thing, or if it's more of a prune timeline where it's
Did we lose Ian?
Oh, we lost audio completely.
Oh no.
oh no,
Oh, there you are. You're back.
There.
all right, that's weird.
He's back, baby.
Yeah, the idea of it being a New York where maybe the attack on New York was successful and things really got out of hand would be kind of cool. I'm curious to see where they go. I definitely think that it's that scene at the very end made me just like the nerd me perk up, like, ooh, what do we have here?
Was that you, Ian, that called it the Citadel of Lokis? Is that
The Council of Lokis.
The Council of Lokis.
Okay.
I mean, we have obviously I watched the CWDC shows. We had the Council of Wells, and Rick and Morty, we've had the Council of Ricks, and I feel like we're getting the Council of Lokis here. But like you guys were saying, like about the disintegration one, like I'm curious if, did Mobius wake up and there's like a planet of Mobiuses and jet ski Mobius went cruising by like, oh, dude,
wow,
wow.
I would want it filled with like every character he's played in the movies.
I have so many questions about the what happens after the wanding, so
yeah. So
we'll see some more in the next episode about I mean, if Mobius shows up, then we get our answer. But
yeah, I've seen a fun theory that there's a lot of theories that really are dead set on Kang being the Oz behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily true. I'd be cool with it if it is, but well, it depends on how they present it. I will caveat that before Frank even says that, because I agree. It needs to be handled well. But the theory is that Kang is supposedly going to all these alternate timelines and pulling out a variant and then destroying the timeline, which is literally what we saw happen to Sylvie in her childhood, right? She was a variant, she got pulled out, then they pruned, right? So the idea being that if somebody, Kang or whoever else, is doing this, then they're putting them somewhere, right? So that's what this place could be. So the theory is suggesting, like, that's why I brought it up, that somebody tampered with that pruning device to make sure that Lokis actually don't get pruned. They get sent to this special holding place for variants to build a variant army, because the TVA is very they feel very threatened by Lokis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but it gets convoluted the more and more you try and think about that. So I just let it happen.
You mentioned the Sylvie part. Like, I think it's pretty smart of Marvel to keep those Asgard assets around, like just to kind of keep them on the computer, just in case they have to use them, because that place looks hella expensive, and it seems kind of out of the scope of this show's budget to have something.
I mean, shit, they brought Sif back.
True. She seems she doesn't seem like she'd be as expensive as Asgard, though. Like, I feel like
what costs more, the CG or Sif?
But in fairness, it was already announced earlier last year that Sif was returning for Thor: Love and Thunder. So she was already back on the payroll when. So as much as it was happy for me I was happy to see Sif. I wasn't like, oh man, they got her. Like, it's not a big get, She's not like.
I'd pay good money to be locked in a repeating room with Sif where she just kicks me in the balls all day.
I mean, but do they do a council of Lokis, right? Would that impede on if they do a council of Reeds, right?
Did you see Gigamock did Sif? You spelled Sif wrong, by the way. It's Sif.
Maybe he's talking about syphilis. He's asking if I got paid.
I like to just hang out and troll my commenters and just tell them how they spell shit wrong.
Yeah, for reals. You told Totally Not Frank, fuck you to him.
I know. That guy. You know what? That guy sucked.
Could be.
We just
That's why I didn't even share the other comments he had where Chi was defending me, and then Totally Not Frank still went in just like saying, you don't know. Man,
you should have that guy.
That guy just sounds like a douche.
I agree with that person.
Anyways, Gigamock was asking, did Sif get paid for each line she repeated? I would hope so. I would think she would, because she did deliver it pretty consistently, but the scene was different each time. So hopefully. Yeah, no, I enjoyed seeing that. Do you guys want a really cool, fun Norse fact about that scene?
Not at all. No, I'm kidding.
No,
yes. Yeah.
You don't? The scene where Sif and Loki interact is actually based on the Norse legend where Loki cuts off her hair. In the legends, this eventually leads or puts Thor on a quest that leads to the creation of Mjolnir.
Oh, sick.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so in addition to inadvertently creating the Avengers, he inadvertently created Mjolnir.
Hey, man, that's just the Norse mythology. I don't know if you want to like.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I like the way that his actions are like basically the Theon Greyjoy of Asgard.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Oh no, Ricky died.
So the episode's called The Nexus Event, and it obviously stems from that interaction that Loki had with Sylvie. I mean, do you think it's love? Like, is that?
That's a good question, man.
When you invent a new form of incest, that's what creates a Nexus event.
I mean, that's the most Loki-ass thing I could think of. Is Loki
I feel like
himself.
that is the best answer ever. Like, they literally invented. By the way, I am totally down for that version. Like, I know for a fact that if I met the female version of myself, that's I would just
striking dragons all night.
I'm too much.
Striking
vipers.
I keep calling striking.
I loved that he fell in love with the female version of himself, because I would totally do that.
But I really appreciate how,
as long as she's not in a wheelchair, by the way.
Oh wow!
Oh, gosh. Well, when Mobius figures this out, he's like, he calls him out in like a week. He almost like kink shames him. Like, that is the most narcissistic thing you could ever do. Like,
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but I appreciate that they went there with that,
It's the
that
highest form
dialogue.
of love.
Yeah,
Like,
and the highest form of flattery, right?
True.
No one can flatter you better
That-
than yourself.
So, kind of piggybacking off that question, a question for you guys: like, do you guys think Sylvie feels the same? Because
No,
the whole Nexus spike, was when she touched him, but when he kind of grabs her later at the, after the end confrontation, he seems like he's about to kind of put his feelings out there, and she looks sort of like, "Don't do it, bro. Like, what are you doing?" She seems a little like not
as they're
into
about to get Rogue One.
I think it's more that she's like, "Yo, time and a place. Read the room."
Right.
Here.
there's that, and then she also did mention, like, kind of like as a joke in the last episode, that she was in love with like a postman or something like that. So like, I don't know that she necessarily was lying about that. She actually hasn't lied much at all since we've met her so far, right? Like,
Doesn't seem like it.
she's been pretty honest as far as we can tell. So I don't know that if she was joking or not about that postman. So I definitely got the same vibes you did, Ian, where it's like, don't do it. Like, this is gonna be weird, like. But I think that makes it more interesting.
I mean,
right?
they intentionally did not have them kiss. I think
Yeah,
I feel like that would have been too weird for Disney.
She doesn't have to be. That doesn't have to be her purpose. Is to be Loki's love interest.
Yeah.
Like, she can be more than that, and that's fine. Like, I will I be mad if they have a little hookup just for fun, just to see what that's like? No, that's pretty awesome, and that's just masturbation at that point, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Sylvie's toys look like the Lego Viking set that they have?
Yes.
Like,
doesn't
I know?
No, I shared with you, like, one of her toys was an actual repaint of a D&D dragon.
Yeah, one's the D&D dragon, but the pirate ship, that totally looked like the Lego. The Lego
looks like
Viking.
the Lego ship. Yeah.
I wasn't rich enough. I'm not an Asgardian princess, so I don't
Yeah.
have that kind of money. But it looked.
Why
cool.
do you think they pruned her?
I mean,
because she was
we
playing with D&D stuff. Like, you can't
Yeah.
be playing with anachronistic stuff in Asgard.
Yeah.
I think.
By the way,
I think
oh, sorry. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, I think it goes back to, I brought it up last week. Like, I would be curious to know the specifics of her pruning, because if the Loki that we know in Endgame was supposed to be the sacred Loki, right? Wouldn't just her being a female Loki be terms enough for her to be pruned?
Not necessarily, because it has to. Because she was. You're assuming that she was born a female.
True.
And if she was, then why wouldn't you prune her as a baby? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we know that Loki from the Sacred Timeline was born a male. So I mean, she could have been born a male and then changed.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that. Like
change it to a horse. Fuck a horse.
Yeah.
Have a horse baby.
So I guess so it's unclear that does default.
This is soapbox
Loki,
talk. Sorry
the
about that.
default little Loki is just her.
Well, the other thing you got to remember is what we've learned from the 4 episodes is that the TVA is the unreliable narrator, right?
Yeah.
So
very
like
much so.
everything they've told us, even their motivations for why they're doing things, we don't necessarily know that they're genuine or that they're the real reasons. So all we know, like for certain, is that they did come and take her out of her timeline and prune her reality. We don't actually know why. We don't know if it's because she threatens the sacred timeline or because she fits some ulterior motive, you know. But
Dude,
fun
Ravonna-
fact.
Oh,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna fun fact before we move on from that scene. Did anybody recognize the girl that played young Loki? Young Sylvie. Sorry, young
Is it
Sylvie.
a Stranger Things kid?
No,
Was it Millie Bobby Brown? Oh,
No.
snap. She really melted in that role.
no. Her name is Kaylee Fleming, and she played young Rey in The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I put that on my resume.
Hey, Mark.
she also
Disney keeping it in the family. That's cool.
she also played Judith Grimes on The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Sweet, being a baby in a little baby holder thingy, whatever they call those things.
Judith grew up on that show, actually.
Takes a lot. Oh, really? I stopped very
Yeah.
very early on.
No, she grew up. I think she didn't play the baby. I think she played the older child version.
That makes a lot more sense.
She also appeared as on Preacher as Susie. I don't remember her on Preacher at all.
I still
But I
got
just
to
wanted to
finish
share.
the show.
So timekeepers, huh?
So Sylvie asks, "Why was I taken?" And then Rowena Ravenclaw's all like, "I don't know." Like, do you think she's just being a dick?
I get that
Oh, no,
reference
she
now.
totally-
By the
I
way,
think she's
Yeah, I
being
know.
She totally knows why. She was just because I think, you know, in the beginning of the episode, they show her going before the council, you know, they show the whole, Sylvia escaping. And I think that was, you know, kind of a tarnishment on her record. Like, and so she's got some bitterness there. You can tell through the whole episode that she's harvesting this grudge. And I think in that moment she realized, like, I really have a chance to just stick it to you, and I'm going to. Like, she knows why that
You don't
timeline
think
was
it's because
prone.
she goes through, because they do a lot of paperwork in that world. You don't think it's because she sees like 100 cases a day or anything?
I think she knows. I think she knows, and I think she was using that.
Does
moment
she
as a
know about
pretext.
the timekeepers?
That? I
I
don't
couldn't get a read.
think she knows.
she was definitely upset at how things played out in that room, which is why she pruned Loki.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I want to believe that she's not the big bad of the show, but every episode really does do a lot to suggest that she is.
I mean,
So in the
Kang's
beginning of
girlfriend.
the episode, when they showed the history with Sylvie, and then when, you know, she's in the elevator before she goes in and sees the timekeepers for the first time, and then comes out and talks to Mobius, she legitimately does look, you know, anxious and I don't know if I'd say fearful, but definitely, like, you know, not comfortable. Like, if you knew what was going on behind the curtain, you'd roll into that and be like, those suckers outside, dude, they don't even know.
Yeah.
Comfortable, and she rolls in there with like some trepidation. Now later in the episode, it seems like it's kind of gone, and she kind of goes a little more kind of full villainy. But I think that maybe she doesn't necessarily know the behind the curtain, but she also does know the truth about the variants and the TVA agents, and I think that, you know, she knows her own background, which is why she's got that pen. The pen they keep focusing on.
Nas brings up
I think that's a reminder of her past, and I think she knows what's going on there, but not necessarily the whole truth
the whole
that was
picture.
revealed.
Right. She wasn't always fully in the know, according to, Nas and what's been shown for sure. But another way you could look at it is maybe she has suspected for a long time, but unlike Hunter B-15 and Mobius, she suspected it, but decided that it's worth continuing the lie to preserve the structure of the TVA, right? So maybe she has always suspected that the timekeepers aren't actually real, but she was angry when somebody finally
This
you know,
show's gonna turn into the village.
Showed it. Yeah.
showed it. Yeah, yeah,
How did
exactly. It could be the village. Yeah.
How did Ramona Flowers fuck up so hard and still get promoted? Like,
I was
if
thinking
didn't
the
do the one
same
job,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
I think she had to
Yeah.
do a lot of wiping out of timelines to get
I mean,
back into
if
good
you're
graces.
Kang's girlfriend and Kang's running the show,
Okay, to be fair, she doesn't start as Kang's girlfriend in the comics or his, or she actually does not like Kang at the beginning of
Maybe
the
they had to
story.
date a little bit,
And so-
to wear her down.
Yeah, and so Feige has repeatedly or he's said before that this show is looking at the character before we ever meet her in the comics. So this is in theory it's a pre-dating Kang character.
Mhm.
In theory. We don't know that that's true, but yeah. What else did you guys want to talk about this specific episode? Did you have anything? I love this episode, by the way, in case that wasn't clear.
it was a solid. We got a lot of story beats pushed forward. I'm very happy that they didn't cliffhanger the timekeeper thing. They did that reveal then and there. They didn't drag that scene out at all. It was the right length, and also that. The fact that they showed the timekeepers to begin with, I think is kind of neat. I was a little worried that we weren't actually going to see them.
Yeah.
Oh, I was pretty certain we were going to see them, but
But did you anticipate double mustache man? Like, what the hell was he saying? I'm glad that you have subtitles on when you're watching these, because I didn't understand a word he was freaking saying.
I thought it was interesting. They were very different from their little statues and sculptures. There were similarities, of course, but they visually, the mustache man had a legit mustache versus almost like a gill in his statues.
He grew a mustache because lizards grow mustaches.
you can grow a mustache after you get a statue made of you. That's okay.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Ricky does one every other month. So I don't know. There's a lot of inaccurate statues of Ricky. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think Ricky hit on it,
B-52.
but the pacing was great. The pacing's every time they drop a mystery, they give you a little bit. They breadcrumb you until they give you a bigger mystery answer, and then I'm assuming they're building to a bigger mystery answer at the end. The biggest.
Yeah, I think Nas. I shouldn't be sharing these because they're just funny.
Boss Nass.
They're distracting. Yes. Fun fact: Mustache Man played Boss Nass in Star Wars Episode 1. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but I don't think he is. I think he's trolling.
I want to think.
But I was going to mention really quick because we're going to go soon. One of the things I actually really loved about this specific episode, and like you were saying, the pacing, not just of the episode, but the pacing of the show has been really great. Because here we are, we're at 4 episodes in. You could argue that this is like the end of Act 2, and if it was a 3-act structure story, and then we still have 2 full episodes left to do the 3rd act. What I really liked is that at this point in the show, we have eliminated a lot of really out there fan theories that were purely based on weird things that they saw in the trailers. Specifically, that Black Widow was going to return on Vormir.
Yeah, that's true.
Richard E. Grant.
And Richard E. Grant was going to be the He Who Remains character. Yeah.
He's still
both-
Loki.
He's still good.
I'm saying
that's true.
classic Loki could be lost in time, and could be the one that's at the end. That's like, I gotta fix this, man, or I gotta get out of this time loop and fix it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say,
Does it bother you to not have a clear picture of who the villain is?
Richard Grant for nothing.
Oh, true.
well, we don't. I don't think it bothers me to not have a clear picture as long as they handle it well. Right? If they end up if they end up saying it's Ravonna, then I'll be okay with that as long as they show that. You know what I mean? It's got to happen. It's got to happen organic.
As long as they have a good song, that's all that really matters.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I really appreciated that. A lot of people, when we saw that scene of the woman sitting on the purple planet and the short hair and the black leather suit, and you see Loki approaching, you're like, oh man, Loki's gonna go rescue Black Widow and bring her back to the timeline, And now you're like, huh.
Like,
Now I
not too
understand.
expensive.
Now I understand why they. Well, I mean, ScarJo's not too expensive because she was in the first episode of this show. So
Now we're waiting for the scene where he does go to Vormir and save Black Widow. So
well, no, I'm really happy that didn't happen, but I'm also kind of like, hey, is that why you made Sylvie dress like in that outfit rather than a more green Loki or Enchantress outfit, or is that why you had her hair cut exactly to the same shape and color as Black Widow, just so that you could troll us? You know, like Ricky was asking that question the other day. Is that?
But she did not have blonde hair in that movie.
no, but with the colors of
the color, the lighting, yeah. She actually had strawberry blonde hair in.
Well, it was like she dyed it. Like it was.
She had red hair and then blonde at the end. Yeah. But it was much longer actually. Now that you remind me, but yeah. Mm-hmm. But in any case, like I mean, that mystery solved. You know, so like we don't have to worry about that anymore. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like unlike WandaVision or unlike Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they kept these stupid reveals dangling forever and ever. Like I mean, what WandaVision was 9 episodes, right? I think.
Was it? No,
was it? Oh, sorry.
Maybe you're right. No, it was 9. It was 9 because it
was 9, and people thought it was going to be 10. Yeah. But like, I appreciated that this show nipped a lot of things in the bud now, whereas WandaVision waited until like the last episode to make everything clear to you, and I'm like, guys, that was too long. That was too long to draw that out. Or like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In the last episode, they're like, "Look, guys, Sharon's bad." I'm like, guys, that's not. That was not a.
We knew. Thank you. We knew.
But it was Agatha. It was Agatha all along. Yeah, we knew that too.
Yeah, we knew it was Agatha. We knew her name.
So I appreciate like that. That we had said we'd been seeing Wizard of Oz for weeks and weeks and weeks, and yeah, we got our Wizard of Oz moment. We didn't get the full moment, right? But I'm fine with that too. Like, let's spread it out a little bit, So.
King's just gonna come out. You've always had a heart, Loki.
What's Wizard of Oz? I've seen the parallels with Oz, Great and Powerful, but I don't know what Wizard of Oz is.
He's trolling. Let's move on.
Is that a movie?
He's trolling.
So one thing that I caught in the episode that I thought was kind of cool was when Mobius was talking to B-15. And he was talking before she asked him what Loki said, he was like, we've brought in Kree, we've brought in Titans, we brought in
vampires.
And and why are these two demigods, such a pain in the ass? But I was like, those are very specific touch points to highlight. And the vampires one I thought was pretty cool because, obviously they've got a series they're working on for Blade. There's other notable vampires in Marvel, so I thought that kind of talking about the same thing. Why did they?
Korg was not lying.
Did anybody else like after that was said? Could you not stop seeing the wooden stakes on the bottom of their sticks?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh,
that was cool.
You know what? Actually, I didn't even kind of put those together.
I don't know that they were wooden, but like. I couldn't stop.
I'm like, yeah.
Like it was like these spikes on the bottom every time. Like they just started turning this thing into a weapon that we never saw it used as.
I mean, in hindsight, Blade is the only thing. I don't say not the only movie announced, but it's one of the only movies that's announced with the lead actor that's not on deck. It's basically Blade and Fantastic Four at this point.
Frank had to go for a minute. He'll be back. Sorry. I mean, I think that's a nice way to say like, hey, don't worry. Even though Blade wasn't in that announced the other day, or like a few weeks ago or months ago, like Blade is still very much on deck, and so it was a nice little touch to like. I appreciated it, and I was pretty certain that Ricky was very happy that vampires were once again confirmed in the MCU.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was one of the moments for me where I kind of rewound a couple times and was like, wait, let me just see what was the list again? Kree, okay, just wait one more time. Just to confirm.
God, imagine how much of a problem Thanos created for the TVA, because he wiped any permutation of half the universe would be fucked up
No,
Dude.
by TV.
That's not necessarily true. And you got to remember, in theory, Thanos didn't fuck up anything for the TVA because he's on the sacred timeline. So he did exactly what the timekeeper
Correct, but
wanted.
when he snapped half the universe, it had to be those specific half of people.
Well,
Or
that's
at
why he
least
was on the sacred timeline.
The
Because he
specific
was,
Avengers.
okay.
But
yeah,
all
but
of the
that's-
variant Thanoses that did the snap, they had to go back
Oh.
and correct those.
That's fair. Who knows? Yes. You're going down a rabbit hole I don't
Okay.
want to go down especially as we got to wrap up this show. I'm very happy to go down that rabbit hole when we go to the soapbox in a few minutes. But yeah, I just want to I think we've said enough about where we see this story going next, so I don't want to like waste more time on that or spend more time on that. But I do want to thank Ian for taking time to like actually hang out with us in person instead of just in the chat. I hope this was fun
thank you
for
for having me.
Yeah, and then
It was great.
You're not off the hook yet, by the way. You're still going to do the other show.
No, I'll be there.
But yeah, we will have more of Ian on our Patreon show in a few moments at Denix Media patreon.com/Denix Media. And I do want to thank everybody else who joined us in the audience. And normally I would have Frank here to say, "Oh, there he is.
Oh, he is.
Frank's back. What should they
Back,
do,
guys.
Frank?"
They should all support me and my endeavor to say that we don't know what those Lokis were doing at the end of the post credits. But if they can't do that, then feel free to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Go ahead and put this link on your Facebook, put it on your social media. Tell your friends if you don't like what you're seeing, we'll get better. We promise we will.
And then, as always, you can follow us on Denix Media at most places: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all those places. We're doing all kinds of stuff. We're playing with toys. We're talking about Marvel and occasionally just other stuff that weird stuff like Patreon stuff. Stuff that we can't talk about here. It's too weird.
Like the new forms of incest that Loki's invented.
I saw somebody, I think Gigamock called that the variant with two backs.
Yes.
I like that. That's a good name. But Ian, do you have any last words or any place that anything you want to plug or anything you want to tell people about before we go?
Oh no, you can't find me anywhere. If you want to, you got to just watch. You got to just watch Dennis and Ricky and Frank and hope I show up again.
We'll share his address.
You heard that? You heard that, internet? That was an open challenge to figure out how to find him.
Find me if you can. If you
I
can,
have a scarf with Ian's scent.
Nice.
I've got some of Dennis's hand-me-down toys that I'll give you as a prize if you find me.
All right. I think that's it for now. We will catch you next week when we will be talking about episode 5 of Loki and Black Widow because it will officially be out. I think we'll mostly be talking about that later because I know it's going to be hard for people to get a chance to see it before coming here, but we will be talking about it. Anyways, I think that's all for now. Thank you for joining us on Den Excelsior. Enough said.
Happy 4th.